All right. So let's welcome everybody to the chat. We're still waiting on Derek Farmer. Hopefully he'll join us at some point. But right now I have Bill from Just a Waste of Time and his new YouTube channel, Delphi Timeline. He's put a lot of work into that. But we do have a special guest joining us last minute. It's Julie Melvin. Julie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks. How are you guys doing?
Doing well.
I'm doing
Hold on.
good. How's everybody in chat doing?
Hey, Derek. Hey, how's it going, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, Derek? You want to kill your cam? Because we're going to have a bunch of people on here.
Yeah, that'll help with the bandwidth. I don't know if you can hear us. Can you hear us, Derek?
Technical difficulties.
There he goes.
Derek looking as handsome as ever.
He's looking pretty dapper.
Yeah, it's a very nice shirt. I like that.
I'm liking the double goggles there. Well, while he's getting his stuff ready, Bill, you had a question for Julie just before we went live. Can we continue there?
All right, yeah. Just before we went live, I was asking Julie if she was from Delphi, and she was just describing where she's from and her connection.
Okay. I grew up in Flora, was raised there with my 4 siblings, and we actually knew the Marchands at the time. We knew the Marchands and we knew the Hartmans. They were living over in Bringhurst, so I've known them for all of my life. And then when I graduated from high school, I moved to Delphi and lived there for about 6 years. So I know a lot of people in the area.
How old were you at the time of the murders?
Old. 51.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe you were more around Libby's age, but I was confused. I'm sorry.
No, that's
okay.
fine.
So
Derek,
you knew Becky, Patty, and all that?
Yeah.
Real quick, Derek, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you sound great. Welcome to the discussion here, Derek.
Thanks for having me once again. Hi, Bill, and hi, Julie.
This is Julie Melvin. Julie, this is a good friend, Derek, and a supporter of the channel and knowledgeable with the case. So sorry to interrupt. Please proceed.
Do you want, what else would you like to know?
Why? I want to know what's going on. What's so important? It seems like there's some pressing information you're trying to get across. Maybe there's something going on that you wanted to talk about.
I just I was going to help clarify some information. I really wish Kelly was on because she could explain everything, because there are things that she could speak to that I'm not able to. But the reason that I talked to Fig a little bit, I said, I'd like to join to kind of clear some things up to help people understand, at least from our perspective, what was going on with Keegan Kline. Kelly and I have been in this case since day one. I mean, we have been hot and heavy into it. There's 5.5 years of information packed in between us, and we've done a lot of things to try to help bring, justice to these girls. And some of it, we've not been popular, because when you speak the truth and you dig deep, you become hated. So I'm fine. I got that,
what happened with, because the way I knew you was you were doing you were helping out Gray Hughes, and you were doing all these great videos on Delphi, actually, boots on the ground stuff.
Thank you. I had gone to Delphi the week that the girls were murdered. My sister, you probably all know, is the biological mother of Cody Patty. She had called me telling me, now I've never met Libby, but she called me to tell me that Libby and Abby were missing. And I remember distinctly where I was. And so I've never been into all these crimes. And, there's a lot of people that just do this for a living. And with all due respect, I'm so busy, and I got into this because of the connection there, and I wanted to help. And I was over there the first week, and I stepped on the bridge, but there were a lot of reporters, people stopping, asking for an interview, which, I'm like, okay, I'll talk to you. Don't have your camera on. They did have a camera on at one point, but I ended up coming back because they had the drone flying over the bridge. It was right there in front of me. They had a helicopter. There was still a lot of people around. So,
And when you say they, are you saying like local media and stuff,
yes,
podcasters or?
yes. It looked like, ABC, WRTV, and then of course they have an ABC affiliate because someone sent me a video that I was in, and I had no idea. The guy was just asking me some questions, and then they did a little snippet, and I said, okay, he did have his camera on, but there were a lot of those news organizations out there. So I decided to go back. I thought, well, I'll just wait till everything kind of is not so busy. And if I can make a difference, because when I lived in Delphi, I drove by there all the time and didn't realize there was a bridge there. You can't see it from the road. You can't see it from anywhere unless you are right on that trail within, 50, 60. I thought, well, what if somebody sees Uncle Ernie, picture? Oh yeah, Uncle Ernie was there with so-and-so. I remember seeing that. So my point, I did this on my own accord. I thought people need to see this area and think about if any of their relatives may have had this in the photos, or they talked about going there. So I thought I'd give people an idea of what it looked like there. So of course my husband was with me. I couldn't have crossed the bridge at that time by myself because it was my first time. It's pretty scary. It's just a little sketchy with the ties. They are deteriorating so much. So I walked to the end and did not realize that when you get to the end, that it becomes private property. I mean, there were no signs posted, and it's kind of a fallacy. People think that there was always the yellow tape at the end of the bridge. There wasn't. Kay Weber, the property owner, told me that they got so tired of people coming and trespassing after these murders that they decided to put the yellow tape at the end of the bridge up. But prior to that,
wow, that's news there to me.
Yeah, there was no yellow tape at all. As a matter of fact, when I was there, I saw things I was surprised that were not picked up by investigators. I saw those shoes. Someone later shared a picture of some blue shoes. I believe those were from Kay Weber's shoe tree. And
can I just jump in real quick here?
Sure.
I've just seen a message.
I had well, I forget where I heard this information, but before the murders, I had heard that the property owners had put a bunch of brush and twigs and branches and stuff at the end of the bridge, so they couldn't proceed further into their property.
No.
Do you know if that's true?
No, that is not true. That all came after the murders because I was there. It was a very clear path. When you go down the hill, I could see obviously as you come off the bridge toward the south end to Kay Weber's property, there is the abutment of the cement abutment. That is a very, very, very obvious down the hill. I had no doubt that that's where they went down the hill. I could see that looked like somebody had slid down the hill further south, but that would not, I mean, you'd end up, falling on your face. Everybody that would go down there would, you'd have to scoot down. So there's a very, I just want to say this real quick. I'm sorry if I get off subject. I'll come back around.
Sure.
But when you go down the hill, okay, when you get to the bridge, there are 3 obvious worn paths. One path is you go across the bridge, down the hill, curve around, and over to the water's edge. It is a very clearly worn path. So if I'm going to search for girls and I know they were on that end of the bridge, you're going to follow the path first and look. And it's going to take you over to the water's edge looking at the crime scene. The other path is the path before you start across the bridge to the left. And it's a worn path in the woods. There's one area that is a little steeper ravine that goes down to where the crime scene was. And of course, the other path is a path that ends, that goes to the 505 trail that splits.
Okay.
So that I want that to be known, because people, once you go there, you understand, or you start to think, why were they not found? Because you search the paths first, then you search the areas of brush where you actually have to walk somewhere to knock down limbs and trees and weeds and things like that. But if people would have followed those worn paths, it's almost unfathomable that many people out there searching, knowing they were there, they were found less than 500 feet from where they were last known to be. It's just, it'll blow your mind if you go out there and see.
What do you say to the whole shoe incident there? Do you have information about like the details? Was it stuck in the mud? Was it laying there?
No,
Like
no,
what?
no. Those shoes that were there, I think they
Not
were
the blue
not-
ones. Not the blue ones in the tree.
Oh,
Libby's shoe. I'm sorry, Libby's shoe.
Libby's shoe. I don't have any information on Libby's shoe other than what we've heard, which was her shoe. And I mean, I could see it. I could see where they're trying to get down and they're trying to get in a hurry, and that her shoe could have come off. I mean, she
Did it
was
seem
dressed.
muddy?
No, not particularly. Even when it rains, because there's so much coverage on the ground of leaves that really the path even down the hill is not muddy. When I was there, it had rained. My husband and I were there, and we couldn't believe, like, we're standing there and we're like, okay, this path is, you walk the path, it's like you are being led on the path. And people can say hindsight's 50-50, but I think it's kind of an elementary thing. You just follow the path. Once you've followed all the paths and you see nothing and you've explored the area around, then you go off the other areas where you actually have to just go through the weeds and limbs and things like that.
So I'm gonna be there on September 16th. Is it still? Would I still be able to walk across the bridge?
You'd be able to walk across the bridge. Yes, I mean, okay. I know that they'll say that they don't advise people walking across the bridge. I know that, and I know that there is an area that's, you have so many feet. I think it's like of easement. What is it, 50 feet or whatever? Right now, that's Brad Weber is now living at that property. Kay and her husband have built a home elsewhere, and so Brad is still there. So essentially, once you come off that bridge and you go down on the driveway, you would be on private property. I know people have done that. I did that.
I don't plan on trespassing while I'm there. I'm going to try to get as close as I can to points of interest as I can, but I'm going to be paying a lot of attention to posted signs and
Sure.
trying to stay within the law for my trip.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. If I'm around, I'm not sure if I have to work then, but you're welcome to get a hold of me and I'll help you.
Yeah, maybe off air we can exchange emails and
Okay.
maybe meet up or something along the lines.
Right.
Quickly, Julie, let's get to it. What was going on with all this stuff? I guess it was sexting with Keegan Kline or something along those lines. I was reading something in the news about it. So apparently this made the actual mainstream news.
Okay, I will tell you from my perspective what Kelly and I have been in this from the get-go. We collaborated. We decided, hey, let's think about, let's get to know this kid. I mean, we know the horrible things he's done, but he's at the time, and we knew this, we verified it, he wasn't talking to anybody except his dad. His mother wasn't even talking to him. I actually called his grandmother and had a nice conversation with her. She's a very sweet lady. I feel for her for what she's going through. So we decided that I was financially helping Kelly because I didn't want to do it. I didn't want any part of it. I'm too busy, and I just, she had the time to do it. And Kelly I'm going to tell you something about Kelly Brown. Love her or hate her, I don't care what anybody has to say about her. She is the absolute most phenomenal sleuther that I've ever known, ever met.
Where is she?
She's out in Arizona.
I know where she is. She's like,
where
she lives pretty
now?
much she pretty much lives in my same city, but yeah, I thought she was going to join us.
Yes, I'm going to see if I can get, I'll see if I can get her on here. I'm just going to message her. So what happened was, she set the whole thing up, and she took a lot of time. I'll tell you, she took a ton of time to get the whole thing set up. Once she did, the decision was between us. We had a few discussions. I said, don't ask him about anything. Just get to know him. And I'm going to make it very clear. There was no sexting, no sexual talk between the two. As a matter of fact, any talk that came like that came from Keegan, and Kelly would just ignore it or glaze over it. She was just getting to know him. Just like, when you get to know your victims, which is what Kelly and I were doing with Abby and Libby, because we absolutely have never meant any disrespect whatsoever with the things that we've talked about or revealed. To me, this is just a factual information, because when you get to know your victim, that points you in a direction of their activities, what they're thinking and what they're doing, and then eventually leads you to potentially the person or people that they were interacting with that led to their murders. And the same thing.
Around what time frame were you in contact with Keegan Kline?
In May this year.
May of this year? So
yes.
Before he was arrested?
No, he was arrested. He was arrested. What?
August, I think, last year.
Yes.
I thought he's been in jail since 2020.
Yeah, August of 2020. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we started interacting with him after he was in jail, because he had nobody to talk with. It was from beginning of May to June 28th, and so the things that they would talk about was the Lifetime documentary, cooking, food, music, his his likes and dislikes, and this is how we've talked to a couple of experts, and that's how you get to know who he is. Because
do you have a link that you could share with us so we could view these communications?
That would be up to Kelly.
Right, because I have a hard time believing just word of mouth. If I could see these communications, it would.
I have all the text messages she sent me, and as a matter of fact, I received the 12-page letter that he sent to her. And let me just kind of get to how that happened. So how this happened was, they were having good conversation, and she would do video messages, and she just was like, hey, let's write a letter. And really, I think you saw the letter. She shared it with someone who unfortunately released it to one of the YouTube channels. And,
well, I would say fortunately, so we could all look through it.
Oh, well, I wasn't happy about that, because I'm like, that is going to ruin the whole process of the whole intent that we are going through here, because you were making great progress. No, it should not be out there. So,
well, why was it out there to begin with at all?
I
mean,
don't
why
know.
is anybody sharing it with anybody if you guys are having a process?
I've never shared anything. That's not my, because it's not, I don't own that, and it's not my thing to do. And so I can't, I'll have to have Kelly speak to that. But so I said, okay, let's recoup. Let's regroup.
Well, since it is already out, why can't we just go through it here?
Oh, I don't think the 12-page letter's out, or any of the the text messages are not out. I don't believe, are they?
I don't think so. I mean, it sounds like Kelly's the only person who has possession of those, along with giving you access. But why not share them if there's nothing to hide? I mean, it
Well,
would be
that-
interesting to see what he
Totally.
said.
Well,
But like
that would
you said,
Sure.
it
I
would be
mean,
her. It would be up to her, is what you're saying.
we did, by the way, send everything. I talked to Detective Vito. I talked to Doug Carter because I saw kind of some things going on. But let me go back before I talk about that.
Sure.
So at one point, Keegan Kline looked Kelly in the eye during a video visit, and he said, "My dad's not happy that I'm talking to you. He thinks you're an undercover cop." And I think it just scared her to death, because at this point we're thinking these two guys potentially somehow connected to Libby's death. And so she got scared. So she changed her number, cut him off. He tried like 23 times to call her back. We did find that out. And she changed her number. I got her to call back. I said, "Kelly, just at any time, this is the safest time to talk to him." At one point, she pushed her couch in front of her door. She had bruises on her couch because she's lives alone and was very scared. And she was changing her mind of whether she wanted to continue to talk to him.
I mean, she has direct communication with who might be the killer, and she's going to cut communication. And that's a little silly, in my opinion.
Oh, that she has. Oh, you mean that she's putting the couch in front of the door? Or what do you mean?
No, I mean, she has direct communication with Keegan, and then she just stops talking to him.
Yes, but
doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Well, she just got a little scared, so I talked with her. I said, "Kelly, just talk. Go if you can, if you're comfortable. Don't talk anything to him. Nothing. No Delphi. No nothing. Just get to know him, because if you're asking him questions, we already have seen in the transcripts he's a habitual liar. But if he just talks about himself, about things he likes to do, and he can throw his lies in there, but he'll, just get to know the kid." So she decided, okay, I'm going to get to know you. He did say, why did you, I tried to call you. She said, "I got scared." So they started talking again. But the problem was, I said, if you can get somebody to take that video down, that would be best, because somebody's going to see what you're doing and they're going to one up you, because there's a lot of crazy people in this case. Well,
hold on a second, Julie. I think we have Kelly here, but I want to make sure it's her and not some troll.
okay, I'm hoping she's on.
Hi, Kelly. Can you hear me? Hello, Kelly. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I can barely hear you.
Speak, Kelly. Let's hear you. Kelly?
She's on mute right now.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Hello?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Barely. Are you able to turn it up at all? Get the volume up a little bit?
Just wanted to jump in and say thank you to Teresa for the super sticker.
Who's the guy you got on your show tonight?
Just for everybody, I don't know why the names aren't coming up underneath our little images here, but we have Bill. Bill, tell us about your new YouTube channel.
Okay, so if you go on YouTube and you type in Delphi Timeline and then search by channels, it should be the first one that pops up. I created the channel to create videos where I'll just go through the timeline as I know it now, and if there's any updates, I'll update the timeline. And there's also a website you can go to. It's incredibly informative, pwtimeline.com/Delphi. And there's over 400 videos related to the case, news archive, newspapers, links, basically the whole story. And I update it every day, so check it out.
Thanks, Bill. And we also have Derek Farmer. Derek, are you there?
I am here. Hello. Hi, hey, everybody.
Yeah, Derek is
Yeah.
somebody that's been keeping up with the case. He's very knowledgeable, and he's a good person to kind of bounce ideas off. That's why I have these two gentlemen here with us today. And you guys, if you'd please say hello to Kelly.
Hi, Kelly. It's been most fascinating. I've been just enjoying sitting back and listening to what you had to say.
And of course, you know Julie. So, Kelly, what brings you
Oh,
on?
wait, Julie, sorry, Kelly.
What brings you on here today? Can you elaborate on what we've been talking about?
Can you hear me when I'm talking? Is that okay? Can you hear me?
It's really quiet. If there's any way you can get it up, maybe about 25% more, we might be able to kind of make out what's going on.
Sounds like you talking through a pillow.
Yes, it does. Or like you have your finger over the speaker or something.
I mean, of all times for this to happen.
There, that's better.
Yeah, take your time.
Because I sure want to address everything that this guy was wanting to know. Okay, can you hear me?
Mm,
I can't make it go up any higher. Everything.
Well, don't turn it up. Maybe change the position of whatever microphone you're using.
Okay, is this better?
That's a little bit better. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, just hold the phone up to your mouth.
Okay, let me just say that. When you asked me, or you wanted to ask Julie, where's the text messages? Let's see the proof. Let's not do this. We are not jibing you, really.
Hold on, Kelly. We can't hear you very well, and it sounds like you're saying something that you want us to hear. So let's figure this out real quick.
It sounds like you might have something on top of your microphone.
Let me try to call back.
Yeah, call back. Call back.
Either that or the connection is just awful.
Yeah, sometimes it's a misconnection when you bounce back and come back. I have that problem with CD whenever he joins, and then once he comes back in, it fixes itself.
If I'm able to, while we're waiting on her, if you guys don't mind, I'll speak up until that point that where Kelly can take over.
Sure.
Yeah,
Thank you.
continue with anything that you know personally.
Okay. So, so when Kelly did get back with Keegan, we had been talking to somebody that he's now has another YouTube video out there. I don't know if I should mention, but he's got a lot of expertise. And so he said that he would kind of coach us if we needed that. And I was just coaching Kelly. Like, don't talk anything, just get to know the kid, and no sexual interaction. The kid's got the problem to begin with. So don't add to any of that. Just be very matter of fact, talk about his likes, dislikes, whatever. So she did start talking to him again. I was afraid that the video was going to be shown to him because his dad would pay visits to him like on Wednesdays there in jail, or like a video visit. That's all that they can do. So one day, and then Kelly can speak to this when she comes back, is he's mentioned this gal's name, and he says, I have a video visit coming up with a gal named Holly Lowry. And at this time, we didn't know who she was. Kelly looked up her profile. I said, oh no, I guarantee you, she's going to show Keegan that channel, put your letter out, and then she's going to turn him against you so he won't talk to you, and then it's going to be over. And that is exactly what happened. But in the meantime, Kelly had received the 12-page letter and had sent it to me, and then I had opened it and read it to her because she wasn't sure what was going to be in there. She was still a little bit afraid. The person she was afraid of was Tony Kline, actually. But Holly Lowry then ended it, and then she became this groupie weirdo, sexual innuendos.
She's here right now. She's here. I don't know if you can see the comments I'm putting up on the screen, but she's here. I think her name is wife_Lilith.
Yeah, Satan's wife, basically.
Mhm.
Lilith shots, that sort of thing. I can't see it, and I don't follow her. Kelly has watched a few things, and she says she's going to expose this, and this, and she's saying that people are communicating with her, which is not true. She thinks that people are ignorant and don't understand it. What had happened is she had put in $350 on his account. Keegan was getting money from other people so that they could continue to talk, and he would then copy paste everything over to her. So she likes to pretend that everybody was talking to her, and in actuality, he was receiving those calls. We've verified everything. And so, by the way, when she entered the picture and started doing all these bizarre things, I'm like, this is all going to just go downhill. And I could see what she was doing. So I called Doug Carter, who then got a hold of Detective Vito on the case. And then he called me, and we had a conversation. And many times before I would even speak it, he already knew what I was getting ready to say. Like, he knew. He's like, oh yeah, you're talking about that crazy chick that's sitting on the floor eating frozen chicken or whatever. He says, we are watching every single thing. We're watching the videos, we're watching the messaging, we're reading this stuff. And then we kind of got to the point where we got notification that somebody was going to be they were going to at some point press charges with someone telling Keegan to do certain things or say certain things or be deceptive, and
For
then,
money.
yeah, for money. And then there were other people then that got on the bandwagon. And this is the thing, is Kelly never said, I'll do this for money or anything like that. She just got to know the kid. That was it. She was
Well, Kelly's here. Kelly, can you speak? Can we check your mic real quick?
Yeah, check 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
I don't know if it's going to get any better than that. It sounds
Yeah.
pretty good, unless you're able to call. Maybe you're able to call Julie and speak on your speakerphone and use her mic at the same time. You know what I mean?
Oh, that would be good.
Okay, let's try that, because I just want.
Yeah, I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, you have to hear from her for sure.
So just close out your entire session here with us in StreamYard and give her a call, and she'll put you on speaker, and then we'll hear what you have to say. Okay.
So these other people that came into the case, came into talking with Keegan, they all kind of jumped on the bandwagon of this. But unfortunately, people.
I think your audio cut out.
She's probably getting that call.
Yep.
Ooh, interesting chat going on there today.
Yeah, what's going on? What are you thinking about right now, Derek? I know your wheels are spinning.
I'm trying to listen to her talk, but I'm reading over this chat, and there seems to be kind of a little interesting little kind of argument sort of thing going on, a little back and forth. Seems like wife Lilith is irritated, and so is everyone else. So I don't know. I'm just kind of reading over that.
Wife Lilith, you should call in. You should definitely sound off on what you're saying here.
Yeah, wife Lilith, you feel free to call in if you want to call in. You have our permission to join this conversation, because it seems like you're quite involved.
See, that's the thing about Sleuth. Sleuth is very inviting. He'll make you feel very welcome while you're here.
That's true. We're all waiting. I'm just like, I don't usually like dote over the chat while I'm.
Oh, I am too. That's what I'm doing right now.
I'm like sitting here just watching.
Well, Lilith tried to make some accusations against Sonny Justice.
I know. Don't be talking about my Sonny, girl.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if you're going to talk, you need to come speak up. You don't have to come on camera, but represent yourself at least.
I believe the first time I ever did a stream with you, Sonny Justice was also on the show.
Oh yeah, when she called in.
She was already on
Mhm.
the show when I had called in. I called in, I think, like half or 3/4 of the way through the show.
Here's Julie. Yes. Hold on.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You were on mute there for a minute.
I apologize. So here's, I think, Kelly, are you there?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Much
Sounds
better.
good.
Perfect.
Okay,
Much better.
I got another phone. So, okay.
Yeah, I think that my phone got overheated. It was in the front seat of my car, and you know how hot it is, Sleuth. It's very hot in Arizona. Any kind of sun on your electronics will wig it out.
Yeah, I think it was like 107 just yesterday.
Wow.
Listen, I just want to address that guy. Bill, how long have you been on the case? Have you been following from the beginning?
Bill?
I've been following since around the late 2017 because it was before I met my girlfriend.
Yeah, so that would have been almost the full time. So you've seen every twist and turn of this, right?
I don't really follow all the Facebook shenanigans and the Reddit shenanigans. I just surface level stuff.
Right. So I just wanted to answer all of my text messages. We have those. We could show those to you, and then this would all be over.
Why don't we go through them? I mean, share what you can share.
Bud, you're from back east, aren't you?
Yeah. Hang on.
What's that?
You guys are talking.
You're from back east, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm from New York.
Yeah. So I went to college in Albany, so I could hear that New York in you, because there's a level of skepticism that no, this was terrifying. So when you ask, why would I put my couch against my door? Because the way he looked at me, remember, I had about 9 video visits. The nonverbal communication between
No, he didn't say
I
that. Correction. He did. Hold on.
terrifying.
He
Wait a
did
second.
not say. He did not say. Why did you put your couch against the door? He said something in regards to the actual text message or the letter.
I had
And
said
I think there was
I see.
you were
confusion there.
already in contact with Keegan Kline, and you already had an established rapport with him. Why
Yes.
end the conversation?
Because you don't know. Is Tony Kline going to come knock on your door with his peg leg and kill you? The way he looked, and I'm just answering you. I'm being serious. I don't think in my adult life that I had ever been so frightened when he said, Kelly, my dad doesn't approve of me talking to you. And the way he looked at me, I know that those eyes that looked at me were the same ones that saw them dead. And
Well, I
that's when
can't
said,
put myself in your shoes, but you're looking at a guy who's in jail. So I guess I wouldn't react that same way, but I'm not in your shoes, so that's how you acted.
I think as a woman, and you think that the kid's in jail, but what about the connections? I mean, look, he opened up the largest CSAM ring in the state of
Especially
Indiana.
when the first thing he said to me was hi, and I heard, guys, there's just a different. There's just stop. This person we already know is in prison or in jail for CSAM. So his eyes have seen things that normal people would never even, when you're jerking off to a toddler, you're not all there. So I always have that level of awareness that, hey, look at me make my apple cobbler. Oh, I showed him my cats. I took him in my car. It was weird. It was weird. And then to get to the Holly Lowry shit, all of a sudden he said, Kelly, tomorrow at 12:30, I've got a video.
Well, I think it's weird if you're just talking to him to get to know him. Like, I mean, what was the purpose of you guys reaching out to him in the first place?
Well, we wanted to see what kind of individual he was and what his intentions were. Who are you?
But Kelly just got scared. I mean, it's to each his own. I mean, but then she came back around, was like, oh yeah, you're right. He's in jail. We need to get to know him. Let's just talk to him. And so we did that. Ben, go ahead, Kel.
Yeah. So pretty much what we all of us, including myself, want to know is, when Holly Lowry came into this, what happened after?
Well, real
Why
quick,
in the
real quick.
hell
Let's try to be respectful of the callers, please.
I know, but real quick, she's not answering the question. Kelly, Bill asked you what was the purpose of reaching out to Keegan, and Julie Melvin stepped in and took the question for you.
Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, because when you guys
I
are
was
talking,
referring
it
to
sounds
Chad.
like we're in a submarine.
Sorry, Derek.
The point of talking to him was I thought maybe,
Sorry.
hey, I wonder what he would say about this. The intrigue, the mystery of it all. Who are you, Keegan Kline? That's it. There's your answer.
But don't we
So
kind of
my-
know who?
my- the
Don't we
reason
kind of
I'm
know
on
who
here
he
right
is?
now, though, is just
Yeah,
why
we
on
kind of
earth
already
would
get
he
the
send
point
this
that
chick
he's
all
like
his
a
troops?
weird, creepy pedophile guy. I don't need to have a phone conversation with him to figure that out. You know.
Well, there were some things. Can I say this? And I probably
Yeah.
won't say it on the air, but I can tell you that Detective Vito did state that Kelly was doing a good job, and she was able to get out of regular conversation from him some things that could potentially impact the Delphi case. And it was just the likes and dislikes things about his personal life, and that information so I don't know who looks at the letters, but he did ask for that letter to be sent to him. So there was
So who made this public? Was it this wife Lilith? I mean, I understand if it's work and it's helping the case, and that's good, and law enforcement likes it. But why are we talking about it?
I think we're talking about it because all the people that really did, like, I don't mean just sext him, like, hey, here is somebody, let's get back to the kids. Libby and Abby are dead. He probably had them killed if he didn't do it himself. And so the whole point is his chirping device was his same thing he was doing on the outside. He was chirping all of these people different stuff they wanted to hear
Chopper.
to get money out of them. And so he was sending Holly Lowry all of his chirp messages, and she was telling him what to say, which, she got his chirping device and everything taken away. So God only knows what he was saying about the deaths of the girls.
That's right, Wyatt.
Bring it back. Yeah.
And there we had some direction from somebody that's very experienced in law enforcement. Nobody had officially asked her to do this. It was just, we want to bring justice to this case, and we were advised that a lot of times letter writing brings out information, like, and some other cases have been solved that way. So that was just kind of the gist of it. There wasn't anything other than that. And then all these other people turned it into, they wanted the information so bad. It's like, okay, I'll do a trick for you. Give me information. And he's just
And how it
swindling them.
how it totally ended with me was he had the video visit with Holly Lowry. She told him that Kelly put a video out of your letter, Keegan. And in his mind, he thought, I was his girl. How could you do that to me? I thought you were my friend, and I
See,
did have a
to me
sense.
that
This is where I gotta pull back, man.
well, Kelly,
I got
this
a
is
sense of betrayal,
strange.
Like I should never
What?
have done that.
Yeah,
like,
what you're doing.
I shared it with some people.
Can
I
you
shared
hear
the
me?
letter with some people.
Hey, Kelly, just a sec. Kelly, just a second. He wants to say something real quick.
Kelly, can you hear me?
Yeah, kind of. It sounds like we're all in a submarine.
Okay. You do understand it seems strange for you to reach out to him and then have such an extensive, strange conversation to where now we have this wife Lilith involved, we have Sonny Justice involved, and we have now Julie Melvin involved. We want to know, what were your intentions? It seems like you're just injecting yourself, and I'm not judging you for whatever it was, but it seems like
you
you're just.
You already don't like me, and that's what I'm trying to tell you.
No. It seems like you're catfishing a catfisher. And
Yeah, there you
just
go.
don't understand the point of
Okay.
doing
That's what we
that.
all want to know. Is
But
who
why?
is the guy?
I don't want to know. I know who he is.
No,
I'm out of here.
Is
no,
there
Kelly.
anything that you
No,
can
you
share
take
with
it.
us from the conversations that you
She
had
just, I
that
apologize.
is relevant?
She just hung up.
Yeah,
So.
because none of this matters unless she's going to show those messages and the letter and all that. Because honestly, I'm not even concerned about this. The
No,
reason
and
I
there-
brought you guys on was a favor to somebody.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to cut you guys off, but you have to be prepared for these questions, right?
Yeah, and this whole thing has kind of gotten out of control. I just know that there's talk out there, and so
Well, Sleuth right now is giving you a platform to clear everything up, and it seems like it's just getting even more confused.
what would you guys like to know? I mean, I'll answer to what I can. I can't answer for Kelly though.
How about we don't talk about the sexting until
Okay,
you
that
guys are
sounds-
ready? But I would really appreciate it if you continued on with our panel, if that's okay.
Oh, sure, that's fine. And as far as that didn't happen between Kelly and Keegan, by the way, not that I saw any. The letter he sent was, he said he liked her tits and ass, basically. And pardon me for the cuss word, but that's what he said in the letter. But other than that, it was just, normal, just nothing really. But there were
But
some things
what
in
would
there
you expect? Like, what would you expect this pervert to do? I don't understand.
No, well, I what did I expect? I expected him to respond in the manner that he did. And he did reveal some things in there that could potentially be connected. I don't know. There was he has this certain type of fetish.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Just quickly, is there any chance you can Sleuth, if you haven't seen this stuff, is there any chance on, behind the scenes you can kind of look at this stuff to verify it, or are you willing to show Sleuth everything?
I'm not interested. Honestly, I'm
Yeah.
not interested in being
It's
part of
not
this
really-
conversation.
It's not really any
Okay.
big deal. It's just really, I think the reason, I believe the reason we're here today talking about this is because this whole thing has gotten such out of hand, and these videos that gal's making, and people are wondering what's going on. And I think what was happening, I'm going to just,
What do you think has gotten out of hand? So what the situation is, I think right here is you're saying that around
what
a year and a
information has
half
come
ago,
out?
you
That's what I
guys
wanna
had a
know.
conversation with Keegan Kline while he was in prison, and he said some sexual things. Where's the confusion here? Where's the
No.
confusion and
Oh, no, I think
problems
it's-
arising?
I think it's turned into mass confusion because there are now not just one, but there were several people, and I can't tell you who they are. I'm aware of some of the individuals, just because I've heard through the grapevine. I think there's another YouTube channel, and those people were saying that they were aware of 7 people that, and I don't know how this all happened, but that Keegan was kind of trying to extort money from them. So I think it's people like, the one couple, and I don't know if I'm supposed to say the names of the YouTube channels on here, but that the one couple, the attorney and the journalist, even they contacted him and they read some of their things. So it's just people.
They weren't sexting with him, though.
No, I mean, yeah, and either was Kelly, but there are other people that I do know about.
But
How do
why?
you know?
But I can't speak
Why
to that.
though?
I can't speak to.
What do you think? What kind of information do you think can be gleaned from having sexual conversations with a known pedophile who is in prison?
Oh, I think no sexual conversation, none at all. And I do believe that there was a lady that was talking to him, and like from my perspective, I'm a Christian, and I think that people may say there's no hope for him, but the kid, obviously he was abused. I don't feel sorry for what he's done because he has to take responsibility for it. But I think that this lady was looking at him that way. You can't just preach to the choir all the time and talk to people that are already Christians about God.
Yeah, but why start there though? You could start anywhere.
Well,
Why start with Keegan Kline with, Christian activities? Because I'm a Christian myself and I give when I can. I'm not going to start over there with Keegan.
No, I know, but I think that's what this other lady was doing. I believe that's the perspective that she took. And so I can't, you'll have to talk to the lady if she's willing to talk.
And Julie, I want to wait before anybody goes any further.
Rapport with him, and then all of a sudden he's just going to be like, "Oh, hey, let me just confess to these murders real quick."
I think that type of thing is very ridiculous to even think about. I was even saying these people are being played. It's like, it's stupid. If he starts talking to sexual stuff, forget it.
Well, Julie, first thing I want to say is you're very courageous for coming on here and kind of taking the blunt force um, of basically all of this information. You're taking it head on, and we appreciate it because it seems to be on everybody's mind. I mean, I was reading the mainstream media today, and they're talking about this very thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I just
I
thought it was
appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on. I just wanted to give people an insight. This is how I think this all started. And then there was some information that seemed significant just through normal conversation.
Can we get a glimpse of that information?
A glimpse.
A glimpse, anything.
You know,
We don't have to see it. I mean, can you tell us what this new information is at all?
It really just has to do with some things that that were maybe taken at the crime scene that he had an obsession with or whatever. So that's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so
Well, hey, okay.
and so that, and then he did talk about one of his favorite songs and this video, and it's really dark, and it's a guy going in the woods killing these girls. So those kind of things. There's just some little innuendos, may not mean anything, but
Right.
that's just through his. That's the type of conversation that.
But he's a troll. You got to realize he's a troll. He's gonna troll. You know,
Oh,
he's gonna troll everybody. That's what he's been doing since,
Yeah.
for what
And-
we
and
know,
you can-
2014.
you
Catfish
can
troll.
kind of, right, you can read between that, but I saw the conversation that they were having. I'm like, okay, you could have a way of just bringing him back down. She would ignore some of the things he'd say and then just bring it back around, and here's my cat, here's whatever. And then the cat thing, that's another
What about the
story.
knife in the phone and the searching of the Wabash? Does this have anything? Is this connected to all that? Did he say something?
No, but I think I think it's, I have my personal opinion on that. I think he's just playing everybody. I don't see, um,
I mean, he's
how
a
much sense?
catfish. He's one of the biggest catfish. And he's connected to the biggest pedal ring, according to the transcripts. This guy is not a rookie.
Oh,
He's
not.
much worse than we think. My question
much-
is, why? What would you expect a catfish predator? Like, wouldn't you expect him to catfish you and
Oh,
start
yeah.
to target you?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I would expect. I mean, that's why we had consulted somebody that was a professional, so that if there was anything that looked like it was like, how do we handle that? How does she handle that? And that was it. And so it was pretty, very platonic. He would try to throw a few things in there. So on that end, but then Holly Lowry got into the mix of things, and then it was just like all out. Basically, he could be himself, do what he was doing on the outside from the inside, and then it just got into a big.
What do you know
snowball
about
mess.
her? Like, what is
I-
her true
I don't-
involvement?
Nothing. I mean, I think she's just been in this case, and from what I understand,
No, not
she's-
Kelly. Not
No.
Kelly. This Lilith.
No.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this Holly Lowry, Beasley, whatever, Holly Beasley. I don't know her. I don't know anything about her. I've seen a couple of videos. She's just odd. I think she's just has maybe an obsession with, big cases, and there's just people that do weird things like that to get attention.
She
because they're
seems a little satanic.
Yeah,
Like this kind of darkness and chaos is kind of what she thrives on, maybe.
it's kind of like a cry for help, I guess.
Yeah.
They're not comfortable with who they are, and they have to put themselves somewhere where they seem important. I don't know. I can't. I don't know.
Seems to have worked for her.
I guess that's the kind of
And that's kind of, and I don't have anything against Kelly. I'm not a big fan, but that's kind of where my questions were leading. Is she doing the same thing that Lilith is
No.
doing?
Oh no. And if she, I think at some point in time, if she's okay with it, just to get that out there, that stuff could be shared.
Yeah, who told everybody that this was going on? Who was the source of this? Because if this is being helpful and this is all for the intention of help, that was my question. Why is it public now? Who put that out there?
Put what out there?
That this was going on? If it's helping the case, that should have remained
I
private
don't know.
and quiet.
I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. And I was pretty upset about it.
So to me, there's that attention part. You see,
Yeah.
like
Well,
who,
I think
who
it was.
grabbed the attention?
I'm going to take a guess. I think it was like, oh well, I'm scared, I'm done, and maybe she shared, somebody. Obviously, it was shared. The letter was shared with somebody, and so then it got put on YouTube, which was really too bad because the progress. I thought there was a lot of progress being made, but here we are.
Yeah. See, I understand if you get this letter and it's from a possible suspect, and law enforcement is not listening to you. You're like, hey, I got this letter. This could be very important. I need you to look at it. And they ignore you. Then you go public. But it sounds like the opposite happened, that law enforcement was fully aware of it. They appreciated it, sounds like, according
Yeah.
to you guys.
Uh-huh.
But then it became like, how did that happen? To
Well,
me, that's whoever did that is the person looking for attention.
Okay, I think what happened was before she went back and talked to him the second time, that one time she freaked out, and I said, why are you freaked out? The guy's in jail. His dad is having issues with his foot. There's not, if anytime you're going to talk to this individual, you're safe. Don't worry. I think it was just when he looked at her and said that, I think she freaked out. I don't know who she shared the letter with, and when I saw that it was on a particular channel, I could not
You said that this somebody made a video of the letter, correct?
Yes.
On YouTube.
Yes.
Can you share the link with sleuths so we can check that video out?
Yeah. If I can find it. I don't watch too many YouTube videos, but I just know it's out there because it was sent to me. It's the D channel. If you guys know that. I don't want to say all the names.
I'm trying to look for it right now, and and all I'm getting is like the top results.
I'm not familiar.
All news channels and stuff
The
like
DeLorean
that.
Yeah, and
channel.
Kelly,
It says the love letters or something like that. DeLorean channel. I don't.
And just Kelly, if you're listening, like, I don't have any issues with you. I just don't know what your intentions are. I don't. So when you're combative, we're unable to communicate through it, I guess.
You said the mob channel?
DeLorean.
DeLorean?
Yes.
I think it's on Sonny's channel. Sonny, can you email that to me? We'll just email me the link or whatever you got, and we'll take a look.
These are very. I mean, the letters were there's like that letter was nothing, and it was just you can see there's really nothing there. Just get to know you kind of stuff, and even the text messages were. I mean, there was just the one time that he said he liked her, her parts, but that was it. I mean, that's all I could see, and I actually have some of the copies of the videos because I was forwarding them on to a different investigator, and so I saw nothing of interest except for the few things that were like, okay, if it's something, it's something. If it's not, it's not. And so by the time she started talking to him again, she'd calmed down. Everything was going well. And the hope was to get more of that type of information and really to encourage him to let her write, because this particular investigator that's not formally part of the case or anything had said through his experience there will be things come out in letter writing. And yes, you can read between that, but even the letter that he had read, so he's read it and he's like, I gleaned a ton of information off of him, who he is, how he thinks. That's the whole point, is
Okay.
you can't believe, I mean, you look what we've seen. Unless you really get to know somebody as much as you can get to know a habitual liar or a child porn guy. I mean,
it's the frog and the scorpion.
But yeah, but there's in between. I mean, there's ways to read people in between by things they say. Like you could tell that there's habitual lying going on in those transcripts. You can see where, okay, maybe he's telling the truth. I mean, it's just, that's all it was okay, we all want justice for Libby and Abby, and if we can do something where it's something that police wouldn't necessarily do, but we're lay people, and yeah, we've done a lot of things that we've we've done things to try to help this case as much as possible.
Yeah, and you've done a lot. So I want everybody to know that.
No, thanks. I don't need any accolades, but I appreciate that. I'm just
No, I go to your videos constantly. Like when I'm trying to come up with different ideas or try to figure things out, I use your videos quite often. So
no,
I do want to thank you for that.
yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we're waiting on the letter. What's going on with you, Derek?
Okay. Hi. You're just thinking about work. Smoking one of those left-handed cigarettes, and
Because I know you got to get out of here soon. So I want to make
pretty
sure you
soon.
get.
Yeah. No, it's not pressing for me. I mean, I didn't know what what today's show is gonna. This kind of. I don't really.
No,
have a lot of
this is
For sure, I mean-
basically we took a turn. We were going right, and we took a left turn right at the last minute.
I like that. I mean, as far as if you want to know what I was going to bring today, I was bringing just more questions and more rabbit holes that I discovered. That's all. No big deal
Well,
there.
Julie's how long you've lived there your whole life, right there by Delphi. You have family in Delphi.
Yes. Well, I live about an hour away now. So I had gone to I was going to go back to those videos that I made. And cause you mentioned Gray Hughes, I had asked, I said, I was willing to help anybody. I mean, that's the thing about me. I've trusted a lot of people, and because of my goodwill, I have, I've worn rose-colored glasses my entire life. I haven't had the easiest life, but according to where I'm standing, life is good. I'm alive, and the grass is green and the trees
You
are.
sound wonderful.
Thank you. So if I fall, I guess I trust too much. I give a lot. I can't even tell you how much money I've given to people just trying to help them. Just trying to help them in this case because I want justice that bad. I've done a lot of crazy things. I mean, crazy things.
Well,
And,
your ears are to the tracks. I mean, tell us what you know and what's going on. Help us.
I don't claim to know anything more than anybody else knows at this point.
From
in
your
time,
perspective, though, I'm interested.
Well, I just believe that I knew from the beginning that Libby was talking to someone that she thought was a 19-year-old. And I got knocked down pretty hard by one side of the family and the other.
Did they delete her phone? Did they reset her phone?
Yeah, Libby's phone was reset. I was talking
for that reason.
No, I don't. Well, I've thought about that. When I was talking to Becky Patty early on, but apparently when you dig a little too close sometimes, or if you maybe are just slightly off in what you have to say, okay, it was 2 weeks, not 2 months or whatever. Then all of a sudden you get attacked, or people will say things about me that I did this and I did this and I did this. And it's so far from the truth. And people have been gaslit through this entire 5.5 years.
I have been quite often. I'm learning how to avoid it and identify it better now. But yeah, the entire time I've barely escaped it.
People think that I was at the viewing and took funerals of quote unquote dead girls in their casket. I was never there. I was at work. I wouldn't do that. And I can tell you, it was my sister that took pictures, and she did not take pictures of the girls. She was taking pictures of people that she thought of a man that could have potentially done this and was there maybe kind of visiting. Like, this is the kind of psycho person that did this.
Yeah, Doug Carter said it. I mean, he said he could be in this room. So
well, and exactly why. And nobody talked about the other pictures my sister took. Pretty much, she had a set of like 15 pictures, and they were of guys' shoes, of the guy's pants, the mannerisms. She had pictures of men. There was a picture that she took when she was sitting on the bleacher, and there was a girl standing there, and she was holding up a phone, taking a picture of Libby. And my sister took this picture from far away. Then you get somebody out there and by the way, my sister was not even going to share. She didn't share them out there on big social media or anything. It was a group of 15 women that we had all built this trust with one another. She said, okay, don't share them because I don't want the girls to be disrespected or anything. And one girl took them, one person, as far as we know, and zoomed it in on Libby. And then all of a sudden it's Julie Melvin took pictures of dead girls in the casket. Are
Mhm.
you kidding me? First of all, I couldn't, I'm not that brave to just even try to take pictures of people and pretend like I'm not taking pictures, let alone, I wasn't even there. That whole thing was messed up. But that's just like an example of the gaslighting. And unfortunately, Becky was telling people that I took them, and she even questioned me, why would you tell people Diane took those? And I'm like, because she did. I wasn't there. Do I need to get you my time clock to show you that I wasn't there? I was at the, I have no problem if I took them, I'd say so. I don't have anything to hide. I'm here for justice like everyone else.
Can I just jump in real quick? You said that you're somehow related to Cody Patty.
Yes. I don't.
You said
Yeah,
your
I don't have much.
sister is his aunt or something along those lines.
No, my sister is his biological mom, and I'm his aunt. I don't have much communication with him because we've been kind of kept from. I want to go into too much detail, but it's my sister. How much time do you have?
Oh, we're all ears. You have the stage.
Okay.
Was it like an adoption situation or something of those sorts?
I'm going to give you a long story short of the whole thing.
Okay.
My sister was married to Bert Hartman, had 2 kids with him, and then another child from another man. And the kid, and at an early age, she was a very young mom. She was 16 with the first child, and then had 2 others, and then Cody's the last one. And she got into some trouble with drugs, and she was married to Dale Babcock Sr. Okay, so Dale Jr. is married to Michaela Hartman. Okay, just so you kind of know this stuff. At one point, my sister was down in Georgia, got in trouble with drugs, went to prison because she violated her probation by giving her husband a cigarette at the jail. But then she changed her life around, became a Christian, and never did that again. Okay, she's a changed woman. Her life has changed around. So after that, the kids were there with her. My all 3 boys, and then because Bert lived up in Delphi, Cody or Michael would kind of go back and forth, say, I want to go hang with Dad. Well, Dad had a drinking problem. I'm not trying to like out people. I'm just saying this is public record, and I know how people are in Delphi. Everybody has skeletons in the closet. Okay. So what happened was then Cody got in an argument with his dad, apparently, because he's drinking. He would kind of go back and forth between my sister's house, and then he's like, oh, I think I want to go live in, up there in Delphi. So he was with Bert. They got in an argument, and I think he kind of got pushed around by Bert and smacked around. He went over to Mike and Becky's house, started staying there, and then he liked it. He had a 4-wheeler. He had, he got to go hunting. He had his own bedroom. They were, getting stuff all the time. My sister would say he'd come down there and flash wads of money and say, look what I have, and he did. He said, I want them to adopt me. And she's like, I'm not going to allow that. And he's like, well, come on. And then so Becky and Mike called her and said, hey, in order to get insurance, we have to adopt him. She's like, no, I'm not going to allow it. Finally, they were on it so many times. This is according to my sister, that finally she said that they both called and pressured and said that if they didn't adopt him, he wouldn't have insurance. They couldn't sign papers for school and that sort of thing. And I think he was, he's living at the Taj Mahal compared to, somebody has to work and has little means to provide. And what kid wouldn't? It's like Disney World. And so my sister said, no. And then she finally said, okay, I'll do it for the insurance, but you just know that you are still my son. Oh, I know. You're always my mom. I love you. And you do not change your name or anything. I'm doing this just to help you out for school. And then 1 year later, his name was changed. And then he went from calling Becky and Mike, aunt and uncle to mom and dad. And I know if anybody listens to this, they're going to get all mad about it, but that's the truth of it. He didn't go live there because my sister was in prison or anything like that. That's the gist of it. And so at the time, Mike and Becky had been trying to have a child, couldn't have a child. Cody comes in, and now all of a sudden, instead of being, the nephew, he's suddenly my son, and now he's calling him mom and dad. So, I mean, that's all I know about that.
About how old is Cody around
30.
the time of the murders?
Okay, so he would have been like 25-ish.
Okay, so he's about 5-10 years older than Kelsey.
I believe so. How old is she?
Something like that.
Yeah, that's about
Okay.
5 years old, probably. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's all I was curious about. Do you happen to know who Abby's father was?
Yes, Pete Falk. I don't know him. I just know him through the case. Peter Falk,
Falk.
Falk. I think there was an arrangement, and I think
Is that just rumor, or do you know that?
that's known. I mean,
Because that could have just been a joke. Somebody saying Pete Falk, because there was like a guy named Pete Falk who played a detective on TV.
Oh no. There was early on, the very beginning of the case, there was all that information, and I saw some pictures and everything on his Facebook. I think he might have removed it since then, but that was
early on in one of the search videos. There was a guy named Eric Williams that they called a friend of the family. Do you happen to know who that guy is?
Oh, yeah, I know who. I don't know him personally, but I know of him because I know his uncle.
Is he related, or is that just a coincidence that his
think
last name is Williams?
It's a coincidence.
Okay. Well, I figure since you're from the area, you might know these things.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you. I mean, I only know that because I'm friends with an individual, but I don't personally know him.
Right.
So we're just kind of throwing general questions at you now about the Delphi area. I'm wondering, like as far as like church affiliation with everybody, do they have a certain church they go to, or?
No, I think it was just, I think the girls, by even Kelsey's own admission, she said they weren't really church people, but she would go every now and then. And I think that sounds like she's become a Christian, and I don't know what church she did choose.
Well,
and I know
most of the benefits happened at Delphi Community Methodist Church.
right,
So
but
maybe
that-
that would be the church that people went to.
the other
You ever
church,
heard
though,
of St. Matthew's Lutheran Church or Matthew Shepherd Church, also known as the Delphi Church?
are you no, are you
No.
you're not talking about
No.
this? There's St. Joseph. I went to church at St. Joe.
No, it's
No.
St. Matthew Lutheran, and it's also known as Matthew Shepherd and the
Oh.
Delphi Church.
Okay, I know about that. The other church that Libby was going to, I don't know if she went to vacation Bible school or whatever it was. It was the church, out there where her burial site is. I think there.
I don't.
You don't. Okay, so it's out there off of 421. I
Okay.
was thinking that was a Methodist church, but I can't tell you off the top of my head. I've been to her gravesite, but there's a church there, and I think that she went there for just I don't know if it's Bible study or what.
Really, I didn't want to drag that out too long. I just really was kind of curious about church affiliation. That's all.
Quick question for you, Julie, while I got you on the line here. In regarding the younger sketch and the older sketch, what's the talk of the town there? Because I know there's probably talk away from the family, kind of away from the family. It seems like you might be at odds with them. So maybe you're able to hear or pick up some of the information that's kind of being spread around that might be kind of insider.
I I have some friends in Delphi that I talk to, and I think that the second sketch has confused people just as much as it has confused them just as much as it's confused all of us. It just, the
APEP
first.
had a question.
What's that?
In chat, APEP had a question. I just wanted to let them know that if they can put it back up on the screen. There you go. Can you see that question?
I need my readers.
So
What's
do
Basically,
you know
you know
what
what,
caused Cody to move out
Right.
from the Patties?
I just know that I do know that it was time for him. He did say that this case takes a toll on families, and I think at the time, and I don't know why, but I do know at the time that Kelsey wanted him to leave, and for I can't tell you for what reason, but she was really putting pressure on him to go, and he was probably ready to have his own place with everything that was going on. So I don't know. That's
okay.
all I know.
Thought it was a good question nonetheless.
And as far as the rumors, I mean, because if you listen to Doug Carter and he talks about the Young sketch, he refuses to say that we saw them, like that the witness saw them on the trail. He always says in and around. So I was wondering, because around the trail, if you just go right over the highway, that's the whole city of Delphi. So that would technically be around the trails. So did they see this Young sketch and know that he was on the trail somewhere in town, in another neighboring city on some kind of maybe surveillance? Have you heard anything about that?
I think that's doubtful that he would be including the town of Delphi, because if you get on that north side, it basically opens up to 25. Yeah, you have Delphi over there, but then it's like it's everybody and his brother, out there. So I don't think so. I think it's probably um, the neighbor, Kay's neighbor, that saw the individual out there. And this is one thing I wanted to kind of clear up, because I think Anthony Greeno has said this before, and I think he got this wrong. He talks about a lady walking her dog. The lady was not, she let her dog out to go to the bathroom. That's Kay's neighbor. Okay. And when she let her dog out to go to the bathroom, because they were getting ready to go into town, and at the end of that road, 625, is Kay's gate, and there was a man clearly not from there. She knew that he did not live around there, was on foot, standing there, looking towards the woods, like trying to look like assess, the lay of the land.
And is it my understanding that she helped with the older looking sketch, though? Correct. What
No,
does she have to say about that sketch? Because when
no,
they talk about the old sketch, they slip out and say the she and this witness, and she may have seen this, or when they made that error, it was in regards to the older sketch. So wouldn't she be part of that whole sketch?
no.
Okay.
The sketch that when I was talking with Kay, she told me that when the neighbor was called in to sit down and give the sketch, I think this was within the first few days. So the lady, I was going to go back to that man standing there. She described him as dark. I mean, like, so her husband came, because I think she said something to him like, "Get out of here." And so she went and got her husband, and he came out, and I guess this is his thing. He grunts, started grunting at him to get out of there. So he started walking away, and as they
Like a
got,
bull?
yeah, I guess so. I don't
Or
know.
maybe or possibly someone who's deaf and mute.
No, I mean that her husband grunted at the man, like
Oh, the husband. I'm sorry.
the
Okay.
husband. Yeah, the husband grunted at the man standing there. So they got in their vehicle to drive away, and she locked eyes with the man, and she remembers distinct. Now, this is before there was any word that the girls were missing or anything. It made her shudder. She said it was pure evil. So when she found out that the girls were missing and that they had been looking, she immediately called the police. She called in. I think she is Tobe's mother-in-law, by the way. Called in to tell what she had seen. And then later, so it appeared that he was walking away when they drove away. She doesn't know what happened, where he went after that, part of the thing is that she thought that he might have gone around to the other end of the trail from the north end to head south. She doesn't know. She was just speculating.
And you heard this information from her yourself?
From Kay Weber, who's good friends with her when I was there.
Okay, so this is this information you learned directly from her.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
one person removed from the lady. Okay.
Oh, real quick before I forget, I'm sure somebody asked her by now, like, was it Tony Kline that you saw, or was it
No,
Keegan Kline that you saw?
let me go back to that, because later, I was out there. I thought Anthony Greeno did good things with his videos, despite his personal life. You know, I know people say things, but he was doing a pretty good job, just, you know, making his videos out there. So I
Do you
was
know which prison Anthony Greeno is in right now? Because when I'm in Delphi, I would like to, you know, give him some commissary money.
I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea. I didn't know where he was. I mean, I haven't talked to him forever. But anyhow, I was trying to help him. We were actually doing experiments out there, and I've gotten to, because we wanted to see what did the pixelation look like. We had a guy dressed like Bridge Guy. He did the reenactment for his video and all that stuff. But a couple days before that, he'd gone out there, and as I don't know, Kay wanted me to be out there. She's like, if you're not going to be out there, I'm not giving him permission. So then she went to the neighbors, and I don't know, that guy said that he'll get the gun out. You know, he's tired of people trespassing. I don't blame them. And so she showed the neighbor a picture of Anthony Greeno, and I'm not implicating him. Okay, just let's preface this up. She knows it. They know the way described, the way that the neighbor that saw the man standing there described the man that she saw as kind of like dark like that, and more of a slighter build, not real big. So when she did this,
Like maybe like Latin, might be Hispanic or something along those lines.
She didn't say. She was like dark, evil. I kind of got the feeling, because, you know,
Dark skin or dark aura?
Well, I took it as I at first thought dark skin, because she was shown a picture of Anthony Greeno. She's like, yeah, it kind of looks like the guy that was standing there. But then when she said dark, I asked Kay, and she's like, well, I think it was more dark as in dark, because he was evil, but he had the darker like features, but she said he wasn't black. Okay, so that's all I know. So then when Kay says, you know, she was really, the neighbor was very disappointed, because when she sat for the sketch artist, there was another individual there that was also giving the account that I think later they found out, oh, you saw somebody else. But they were having two different sketches, but the same sketch artist. And when they showed her the picture, she's like, yes, that's who I saw. So
what picture?
Well, she fully expected that the picture that was released the first time, the guy that looks closer to the guy on the bridge, the very first release, she expected the picture that they showed her to be that picture. And she was extremely disappointed, according to Kay. She said, that is not the picture. That is not who I described. That is not the photo they showed me that was almost identical to the way I described it. This is a completely different sketch. That is
Why did they go? Why did they switch it up? So apparently they went back to what she was trying to tell them, and that was the changing of the directions, I'm assuming. So what was it that they heard? What was it that they heard out there that made them kind of lean more towards the older looking?
And remember, this is just my opinion, because I'm not the authority on anything.
Of course.
And
all of this is our opinions, and yes.
Okay, just so people understand that I'm not acting like I know everything, because I don't.
Right. Can I ask you another question?
Sure.
Do you know when the makeup snow days were first known to the girls?
I don't, but you can look on the calendar. Anybody could figure that out. I know that they knew about it before the weekend. I mean, they obviously knew about it, because they were planning. You know, this was a longer weekend.
Yeah, it could have been.
Sorry, go on.
It could have been as early in the week of February 5 to February 11, because Abby calls her grandfather and asks if he could come bring her shopping for softball stuff.
Correct. Yes.
So I don't know. I just was always curious about that, and I can't find a clear answer one way or another.
Yeah, I don't know when they knew about it. I mean, maybe Becky could give you a better idea. I don't know if you've had her on your show, but she would be able to answer that definitely much better than I could.
Another
I have to go to
question
work
is,
real quick. Bill, hang on a second, Bill.
yes,
I got to
sorry,
go to
go ahead.
work here in just a minute. I'd like to just sum up really quick with her thoughts on something that I've noticed after kind of gathering and watching these pressers from the police, year after year after year, and Doug Carter interview after interview, and that is that he keeps coming back to the point that there's something more evil about this than just normally what an evil would be when you kill two people. He also keeps coming back to a point that it's particular in Carroll County, and he is out to correct it. Okay, and then he says over and over again that they saw, and when he says they, he means all across the board law enforcement saw something so shocking, and and he says this time and time again that it was so shocking. Now these people, between their experience and their 100 years of law enforcement, when you put all 10 of them together or more than that, what was so shocking? Now listen, and then he ends it with, in my opinion, he looks emotional. I think that's a misjudgment. He looks pissed off. What do you know about the corruption in Carroll County?
It's just things that I've heard. It's just, rumors and that sort of thing. I growing up in Florida, there was always, even as a kid, we would hear things that guy's crooked, or just from my dad, we'd hear some things because he knew quite a few people. He was a fireman. He was chief of the fire department in Florida at one point, and it's kind of like in every small town. There's a certain group of people that have the money, that run the show, or that have the clout, and you always hope that they won't be corrupt. But I can't really speak to that. I do know that Doug Carter is truly. I can speak for him. He's an amazing guy. He is through and through a genuine, good Christian man, and he deeply, deeply cares. I know that for a fact. I can tell you it's not smoke and mirrors with him.
I feel that. I think he's angry about something. I think he keeps alluding to the fact that, especially when he says things like, we think you may have a little bit of a conscience left. Now, clearly he wasn't talking about Keegan or his dad when he said at that press conference, I think you may have a little bit of a conscience left, because those assholes didn't have a conscience to begin with, and those guys are scumbags. Was not referring to them. Who is he referring to?
Well, that's the mystery. And I can tell you what happened. So I've had just off and on contact, because I've had people contacting me saying, can you contact so-and-so for me? And I'm like, okay, you guys, I get to the point where I don't want to be the person crying wolf, because you're saying, who did it, and you want me to do it. I've done that. I've had to apologize and that I'm sorry. There's some people that don't feel comfortable. They want to turn this in, but I did have a lady. And I just thought this was interesting. Let me just go back to early on, when everybody knows who Tina Rodell is. I knew her. I lived across the street from her at one point in Flora. And by the way, I used to babysit. Speaking of Flora fires, I used to babysit for Josh Ayers. I lived like one house over from him. So she was giving me a lot of information. So I would call, and I was contacted by someone asking me, could you have her come in? We need to ask her some questions. And she didn't want to do it. So I had a conversation with a couple of people. And at the time, I was given some information, and I knew I figured it out. I could read between the lines of a certain article of clothing that was missing at the site, which has now come to fruition. It is actually true, from the transcripts but it's not like official, I guess, because the transcripts aren't seen as officially released. But then later, 2 years later, I had a lady contact me from Delphi and say that she has a friend. She thinks her husband could have done this to the girls. Would you please contact Jerry Holman? And I said, can you just do it? I said, I'm tired of contacting Jerry Holman for people. Please, they won't pay attention to me. I said, they won't necessarily to me. So it was on a Sunday, and I left a message on his recorder, and I got a call back right away. And I was really surprised. And I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna pass this message to you. There's a woman.
Yeah, chill out, man.
Pardon?
Sorry about that. I'm getting irritated in chat now. I mean, there's keep saying we are interrupting you, and I haven't done anything but listen for the last 3 minutes. So you guys need to chill out with that. I'm here for a skill set to ask questions as well as listen, which I'm doing both. Thank you.
So Jerry Holman called me back, and he said, I got your message, and I called you back because what you said is the way you described this individual is, now this is 2 years afterwards. They already knew about Keegan Kline at the time. But the way you describe this individual is someone that is a type of person that we think could have done this. And the description of the person that I gave was, there's a guy, he works some construction, some union, part of like a union. He's on the DL. He's heavy into drugs, and he's known to kill for hire and have no connection to what he's doing for hire. And I gave him some information about the person. Obviously, here we are. It's not solved, but the fact that he said this is exactly the type of person that we're thinking could have done this. And I don't know if you guys have really paid attention to what Doug Carter has said, but he did say in a news release at one point, it was on video, we know everything. Okay, think about this. We know everything but the who. Well, what do we all want to know? Of course, we want to know the who, but if we know the why, then we can turn our heads in the direction of,
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Was this for money? Were they
And
angry?
I'm going to go over it now, but I did want to redirect to a question that everyone in chat seems to have legitimately. You didn't finish up your point on the sketches that you were talking about, and really everybody wants you to do that. I'm going to take this off the air. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate Sleuth you having me on. Bill, take care. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Derek.
See you on the new Discord.
Nice to meet you.
It's always good
Nice
to
to
talk,
meet you as
Derek.
well.
Have a good one, buddy.
Thank you. You too.
Wait, so we go back. Did you want me to go back to the sketch?
Well, I think what they want to know is kind of the descriptions that you were hearing. I think they're kind of shocked to hear that this was a darker, I think it's the whole description, the dark, and what does that mean, and who's seen it? They're confused. Was it Kay, or was it Kay's neighbor?
It was. I hate to like dox people or whatever, like to say, but the lady that lives that lives at the gate. Does everybody know who that is? TL.
Yeah, I know who
TL.
it is, but those are the questions that they're having for you.
Okay,
but I know exactly who you're talking about.
I'm speaking of TL. Okay, and so there's never been anything formally established that this person participated, but he was there that day around. I believe she said between 1 and 1:30 was. So when you start connecting some dots, it definitely appeared that this person could have potentially had some involvement, because he shows up out of the blue, never been there, nobody had ever seen him before. Clearly, she said it was very obvious he did not belong there, and he's standing there looking around.
What time was this? Do you know?
Yeah, it was between 1 and 1:30, and he's standing there looking around like he's getting ready to start on the path. And that's when her husband came out, and he like grunted at him, because that's his way, I guess, of scaring people away.
Well, maybe scaring weirdos away.
I don't know. And you know what, I'm just going to say, because I've been there several times, for someone to be out there standing, that would be highly, highly suspicious and very, very unusual. The only time you'd see somebody walking along there would, Kay said that Abby and Libby, she saw several times come through. There was a certain path that the girls would take all the time to come to that end of the bridge when they would come from Abby's house. But for anybody, just as some guy to be there alone, on foot, standing there, a grown man, this was something that was out of the ordinary. And then you put that with this case at the timing and everything. There was question about, did this person have involvement? If you go back to that very first initial press conference, and then later, Burston, yeah. Burston clearly says, you guys see just what's in front of you to journalists. You don't see what's over here or over here. And we're not saying that the person you see on the bridge, that voice necessarily belongs to him. We're saying that the person on the bridge at least participated in the murders. So everybody has to keep
Sounds
that
like
in
an
mind.
ambush or something.
It just sounds like there was potentially somebody else on that other side. Basically, you corral. You walk across the bridge. They kind of get cornered. Somebody else is on the other end. There's nowhere to go. Then you get directed and led to where they were.
So would you say this darker person was seen closer to the bridge, or maybe closer on kind of, the bridge kind of leads out in between both properties?
Yeah, it would have been certainly closer to the bridge than being at the north end of the trail. I mean, because that's to get to the bridge. But Kay's driveway is very long, and but you can cut right through there, and you don't have to go down the driveway. You just cut down the ravine and go through the woods a little bit. And she has a few paths. She and her husband took me on their 4-wheeler and were showing me areas of their house. Yeah. So as far as the sketch goes, I talked with Kay about it, and she said, yeah, I think she was referring to Teresa, but I don't know for sure. I don't know. So the lady that saw that was the sketch that she gave. So there were 2 different images given. The one image, which the young girl at the time, they pressed her when they decided that they were going to put this second sketch out and just basically do a 180, because those sketches are so far different. They contacted her and her dad, her family, to let, at least I thought it was nice to let them know ahead of time. I don't know this directly from them. I know this one person in between. I try to get as close to the source I can, if not the source, and I have been able to some, but not all. So this is, if you want to say it's hearsay, because it's not the actual source, but I was told that law enforcement did contact her to let her know, hey, we're gonna go with this sketch. Are you sure that this wasn't the guy you saw? We really think that this is it. Just think. And she did not waver. She's like, no, that is not.
Does this lead you to believe that maybe somebody was giving false information to police that were on scene?
No, I don't think. No, I don't think false information. I think this girl did see an individual.
No, not her false information. I'm thinking whoever was providing information for the older sketch. Do you think it's possible that those people were giving misinformation?
No, because the young girl that gave the information described the first older sketch.
Oh, okay.
So that's where the confusion was. She described it. She, I don't know if you guys knew who Doug Rice was, but he's passed away. He was a friend, and he was so into this as well. And he did talk to her and her mother, and the way that it was described to him was, there was 4 girls out there. She was out there with her sister, as they just met. The crazy thing is, when Libby and Abby were dropped off, like 138 or whatever it was, they started on the 501 trail towards the bridge. The other girls, at the time that they were dropped off, were down at the waters, like right down at the water. So you go to the 505 trail, and basically it ends, and you have to go through the woods to get all the way down there to the water, where you.
Do you know what that group consisted of? Just all young teens, or were they with some young adults as well?
Young teens, four girls. Yeah. And so they even took a selfie down at the water, sent it to their mom from like Snapchat. And then they came back up. And as they're coming back up, because the trail split so much, they missed the girls. They were on the path, the trail at the same time, but they missed the girls. So Abby and Libby were going to the bridge. The other girls, they had passed them, and then they were on their way out.
Towards
And
freedom.
yeah, towards Freedom Bridge. And when they were almost all the way out, I'd say more than 3/4 of the way out, this man came on the trail, and the other girls were, doing what girls do, laughing and giggling and that sort of
What
thing.
time was this? Do you know?
Uh,
About?
she estimated it that it was between 1:30 and 1:45 till 2. So she was.
Can I step in real quick?
Sure.
On my timeline, I have at some point a neighbor who lives by the trail's entrance lets her dog outside.
That's
Her
the
dog
lady I
is
was talking
barking a
about.
lot, so she looked outside. She observed the girls passing by, followed by 2 boys with hoods up. The boys
No.
appeared to be around the girl's age. Are we talking about the same person here, just different information?
I don't even know where that came from. I'm not even.
That
heard
was
that.
a Facebook post that came out early on in the case. I remember seeing it. It was just some random person made a Facebook post, may even been part of a Facebook group, but she said basically, I seen the girls, and just behind them there was 2 young boys with their hoods up following closely behind. So who knows? It could be rumor, but I believe that's the source. It was a Facebook post.
Yes, it is a Facebook post.
I'd have to look further into that. I've heard something similar, but not. I don't know.
If you follow the link that's in the description of this video, pwtimeline.com/Delphi, that's where the information is that I'm reading
Okay.
from.
I'm just gonna put this out there. Based upon the timeline when they were dropped off, when they
It's
took
in the
snap-
description.
Okay, thank you. And when they took the Snapchat photo, and then when they were abducted, I would find it extremely difficult to believe that they had time to be walking down there at the other end of the trail with 2 guys. I mean, I'm not saying this person, but I'm just saying that based upon the timeline, it's very tight for that to
Well,
have happened.
let me ask you this real quick, because we are running out of time. We got about 15 minutes that I have available here. Do you think that this is connected to Keegan Kline from your perspective?
Let's just put it this way. I think it's connected to the extent that he certainly helped get her to a point in
Yeah, that's accessory to murder. So you believe
Yeah.
he was an accessory to murder?
If you want to say that, yeah. I mean, it's
Okay.
certainly looking that way. I would
Okay.
think, okay, I just say, look at the odds. The odds would be very low that he's pretending to be a 19-year-old. He's catfishing her amongst hundreds of other girls, getting, nudes, all that sort of thing, paying, and then saying, "Hey, I'll meet you at the bridge." I mean, somebody. This is one thing I talked to Becky about early on when she was talking to me. She said, I don't get it. All these kids were supposed to be out there, and at one point, Libby had texted a friend and said, "Hey, where are you guys?" And the friend responded back, "Well, we were already there, but you didn't show up, so we left." I mean, and
Oh,
so it's
wow.
like she says, "How is it, during the day, and these people are all supposed to be there, and nobody shows and nobody hears anything, sees anything, and this happens?" It's unbelievable. But to go back to Keegan Kline, the odds would be pretty low that he had zero involvement, at least getting them out there for someone to take these girls out. I think there's likely a connection, but I mean, there could be no connection, but it appears that there is a connection. If you just kind of draw the whole conclusion, the odds would be very low that there wasn't something there. I don't know.
Somebody very close to the case recently told me that there's kind of like a lot of misleading by state and Carroll County law enforcement, and that it contradicts what the FBI truly believes. So according to the FBI, all of the shit that's going on in Delphi is all political, and it's kind of mucking up the case. Do you see any of that from where you're sitting?
I definitely think that there's something going on with the whole sheriff race for sure. Cause I've just people that live there told me some things that, and I mean, I knew some of the things that were going on with the case and who was visiting Ron Logan, and this individual is running for sheriff. And I'm like, okay, I already thought he was doing some, according to what they were telling me, it seemed awful shady. And then all of a sudden he's, put up there running for sheriff. So it appeared that way. And then there was a lady that's an attorney that took the lawsuit. It's not a secret, and was suing, the county. You guys probably saw that, and all the
I
individuals
saw
there. And
the Hatch Act.
yeah. And so she says that somebody gave her a 500-page document that had some information about Delphi in it that is now in the hands of her attorney, and claims that there was information as far as some of the causes of death, some of the crime scene stuff, the corruption, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I mean, I'm like, why would they lay that in your front seat of your car? She said because everybody knew I was in court every single day, and they knew that that was my rental, and somebody was hoping that I'll expose something with the case. But I don't know.
Like-
that did come directly from that lady, because I did talk to her, but that remains to be seen yet. I think that Keegan is at least guilty in, obviously he's got 30 charges against him. He's guilty in he's an older individual. He catfished a young girl, and he's guilty about pretending he's somebody else and trying to get explicit pictures from the girls and send things, or at least to Libby's phone. Now, I was told that, well, I better not. I was told that, there was more than one person using, kids share their phones. Let's just put it that way. Or
more than using Libby's phone.
yeah, if you
Yeah.
aren't allowed to have a phone, then your friend might be using your phone.
Or
And
you'll find one, and hook it up to Wi-Fi. That was my first theory, is a whole burner phone.
oh, well, I was told that by one of Libby's good friends that he said, I'm just going to be honest with you. A lot of the kids, if their parents wouldn't let them have phones, they just get the burner phone. So or if they didn't want their parents to know what they were doing, they just get a burner phone and talk to people. But I tend to think that the reason that the phone was reset to factory settings was because there's a potential that I'm wondering, did Libby find out after she thought for some time that Keegan, that Anthony Shots was really Keegan, and somehow he had talked to her, hey, you better erase this because I'm actually older or whatever. And or maybe I'm 19. I'm Anthony Shots. I'm 19. You might get in trouble for talking to me. So you better reset it to factory settings, knowing that if they were to find any of this evidence from him, that he would be in big trouble and he'd be found out, which he was found out anyhow.
Well, I also heard that there was in the transcript they mentioned money. So I'm wondering if maybe Anthony Shots was like, hey, if you guys want to talk to me, it's probably best if you take this money and go purchase like a burner phone. You guys can talk to me on that.
I mean, I don't know, possibly. I think
Just
there was some
theory.
exchange of these kids were, the kids were just, it's a different time. It's a different era than when I grew up. I mean,
And they still think they know everything at that age. I know I did.
yeah.
I made so many mistakes. So that's why I feel for them.
Yeah.
They're victims. They didn't see what type of monster this is. That's kind of
No.
what my concern is when I see you ladies reaching out to somebody like that. It's cause for concern. You guys are talking to a real monster.
Yeah, he was definitely, yeah. I mean, he actually is delusional though. He doesn't. I don't think he knows. He kind of knows, but I think he's just think about it. To be able to survive and live with yourself, you have to create your own delusional world. I mean,
well, killers, yeah, they're stuck in these fantasies anyway, and it seems like he's been stuck in some kind of weird fantasy for a while. No grip on reality. So if his intentions are to be an accessory to murder, if he's sitting next to somebody else who's doing drugs and fantasizing about killing, and he's got these two girls that he's able to put into a place without any connection to him, that might entice some sickos to be like, oh, so they don't know who you are.
Well, I've kind of wondered, Libby was a very savvy girl, and she may have figured this out at the last minute, and she could have
Junior
been playing,
detectives.
yeah, she could have been playing him a little bit, like, saying, okay, he's fooling me, he thinks he's fooling me, I'm just gonna like act like I don't know who, that he is who he is, but I'm gonna tell on him, I'm gonna tell. And this was gonna open up the whole, I mean, this is just my theory or something, I mean, potential, one of the theories out there. This was gonna open up the entire CSAM, ring, and it was going to, expose not only him, but a lot of potentially a lot of people would end up in jail, in prison, and their lives would end. So, if you're part of a pedo ring, it's like being part of a mafia ring. You have a guy that goes and takes people out when they're all threatened, when the entire group is threatened. And I think that that's definitely that's a theory I have, that if Keegan's connected to this, somebody else was sent to take him out, to take the girls out. I don't think that he's got physical attributes that could have,
For drug money, maybe, and that's why they went to Vegas to sell the drugs they got for the crime. Maybe.
I think that this would have happened because she was going to reveal the whole thing. I think.
Well, let's see here. They say, let me read something from Kegan's interview transcript. Let's see.
By the way, I did talk to his grandmother, and I asked her, was Keegan at your house on February 13th? Do you remember if he was there? Because he stated, and she didn't know anything about the transcripts, by the way. She's a sweet, sweet woman. She said pretty much the only time she saw Keegan and Tony was on the holidays. She said, she goes, oh, honey, I can't remember. I can't even, she said, so I didn't press it, but she said she couldn't remember from one day to the next, but she did say that mainly the time that she would see Keegan and Tony would be on the holidays, and that she wasn't real close to either one of them. She hadn't seen Keegan for 3 years, and she said Tony comes around every now and then, but not very often. She said that Tony was a very difficult type of person. She said that it was his way or the highway. And there were times that you just couldn't even, sometimes he would be fine, but there were other times you just couldn't even stand to be around him. And he didn't get along with his father because he didn't like his dad telling him, what to do or how to do it or whatever. And he'd just get mad and he'd take off. So she said she's just stopped asking him about Keegan because I said, he's in jail. I told her these things, I talked to her for a little bit. She's a very sweet lady. And, she just said she really hardly gets to see him at all, and he probably wouldn't talk to anybody, if they called to ask questions. But she, very, very sweet lady, very sweet lady. I thought that was interesting because he was acting like he just stopped by Grandma and Grandpa's,
Yeah, but they called him out. They knew exactly he wasn't at his grandma
right.
and grandpa's house.
I did ask her if she lived on Paw Paw Road. She said yes, and then I said that Country Club Road is where the phone logged in on the IP or the Wi-Fi
With a password.
Mm-hmm. And she goes, oh, well, that's pretty close. But I thought this as, what if is it possible to, let's say, like I drive on the country, I can, if I get on my Wi-Fi, I get all these people that pop up all their, their Wi-Fi. If you happen to have been at Trexler's, if he was at Travis Trexler's, whatever house, or if he was at Grandma's, if Travis Trexler's or vice versa, whatever, could you potentially log in even though you're not at the house? But if you're close enough, would it allow you to log in? I mean, I don't know. If
well, I have a lot of questions also about what was going on the night before. I mean, we don't know. Maybe they were making plans that night. Maybe somebody showed up that shouldn't have showed up, and maybe they met them the night before.
Abby came over for the sleepover?
Just by what was said by Becky and Anna, that Abby went over there on Sunday and they had the sleepover. And I know they stayed up all night, but I do know that they were they were staying up all night. They were talking to one of Libby's good friends. He wanted to go. They wanted him to go meet at the bridge. So it sounded like they were getting a whole bunch of kids together. Hey, let's go. Let's meet out there. And
Which
you
is
know,
not uncommon, I heard.
no, it's not uncommon. Actually, Kay told me that the kids would go there, party. You know, at some point in time. Now, these may be different people, but people would show up all the time, even over at Mears at the historic barn there. It's called a bank barn. There's an area that they used to put animals, and that was like, I don't know what kids, but some kids would go down there to party. But the main party area, you know, hang out, whatever, is down at the south end of the bridge, because you don't hang at the north end, because anybody that comes on the trail, even grandma, she see you. But grandma's not going to cross the bridge. Okay. So that's where you hang out. That's where you have, you know, your friends and whatever, do whatever.
It's also important to note that Libby also had asked Kelsey to go with her to the bridge to hang out with them. So,
and she had to work or something. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, she had to work, and but yeah, it's interesting to note that Libby had asked Kelsey to go with them. So
she
if
probably
she was going to meet a boy,
Mhm.
would she ask Kelsey to go with her?
Yeah, because think about this. If you want your sister to take you to the bridge, you know, because that's your only ride, and you know she's got work. Well, you want to go with us? So that's kind of a thing kids do. I mean, then your sister's more likely, oh no, I can't go, but I'll take you. You know, oh okay, wink wink. You know, kids do that. I mean,
Yeah, it's chess.
yeah. That's she's a smart girl. I mean, not that she would want, you know, or maybe she did want her sister hanging around. I don't know.
Because of time, Julie, not to cut you guys off before we go to
no problem.
our final thoughts. What do you see from your perspective the connection to Riley Park and the ability to hike from Riley Park all the way to the south end of that bridge? And I know some of the girls were searching that area. Is there anything that stands out about that to you, and the fact that the girls were there the day before?
No.
Okay.
Nothing. I think everything that happened is based all around that area there, surrounding the Monon Trail and the bridge itself.
Bill, you have any questions for her before I give her the final say here?
Oh, well, I have millions of questions, so probably have to do this again at some point. And if you get in contact with Sleuth, he can give you my email, and
Okay.
maybe we can discuss meeting up on the 16th, or maybe you can give me some tips for when I'm there.
Okay. Sure, we'll do.
All right, Julie. Before we get out of here, anything you want to add?
No, I've just got so much information packed in my head that I.
Is there any way we could get you back on at your convenience?
Yeah, that's possible. I'm just going to tell you, I've learned to. I mean, with all due respect to people that are coming in, I appreciate people coming and asking questions, but anybody that's going to be mean and hateful and negative, I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want anything. I have freedom of speech, and anything that I say, I preface how I got that firsthand or where it came from, or I protect the person. But pretty much most of what I tell you is one person removed from me if it's not the direct source. So I just want to be clear about that. So
well, Julie, there's a lot of negative talk going around about you. So if that's what you're addressing now, I mean, feel free to expand on that.
I mean, I actually don't know what the negative talk is, but you know, anybody that knows me is, I mean, anybody that knows me loves me. They know that I'm a good, genuine person. I have the best interest of these girls. I don't wish any ill will towards any family member, anybody at all. I am doing this. I can't, you know, I've tried to stop. I was off for, you know, a couple of years, and I got right back into it when all this happened. And it's hard to give it up. I feel like, you know, God gives you certain things, and I don't, regardless of what anybody says, I do not put my worth in their evil, terrible words. I just don't. And I mean, I put my worth in the Lord, period. And that's it. And I've learned, I was attacked and bullied by Katie Roby, and she got the entire Patty family involved. And to the point where outright lies. I had lies. I got a 2-year restraining order against her from a judge in Hamilton County. That's unheard of. You might get 1 year. I got 2 years for a protective order, and he encouraged me to take a defamation lawsuit out against her and this Sarah Elrod Osbrick that just flat out put nothing but lies. And the thing is, it would be the burden of proof for her to prove what she says. It was slander. So I got to the point where screw all that. I really don't care. I don't need to hear anything else. I'm doing this for justice. I want the best for everyone. And God bless Libby and Abby, period. And I'm not going to stop,
I agree.
regardless of what anybody ever says. I'm done with those people. I'm done.
Right. But you have to be you and Kelly have to be very careful with what you say to people, because people are using you as references to say some pretty outrageous, insane stuff.
I really don't talk to too many people. I've talked to Frank. I talked to that one guy from Australia once when he was being attacked by Gray Hughes, but that was it. But other than that, I talked to Fig. I pretty much, I mean, I'm with all due respect, there's not really anything anybody can tell me that I don't already know in this case. What there is to know, just because I've been in this for so long, I've invested so much time and energy, and I mean, here we are. It's not solved, and I'm not going away. And I don't need. I've had my time. I don't need anything. I don't need to be out there. People will think I want to be famous or whatever. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of other ways to be famous, and it's not this case. And I don't care about that. I'm an old lady.
Well, Julie, it's been an absolute pleasure. I mean, I know we kind of jumped on you guys at the beginning and scared Kelly away, but I mean, I want to make sure we were asking the tough questions. That way it's over and done,
Oh, you should ask tough questions. And let me tell you something. I don't take anything personal. I mean, you have to be very open-minded about this, and you have to question everything. And people, you can't get your feelings hurt. There's no feelings getting hurt in this. It's either this or it's that, the facts or not. And if we don't know for sure, let's say that we don't know for sure and just be done with it. Because when people start getting their feelings hurt, it starts clouding your vision, and then it's time to get out. I mean, that's just the straight and narrow of it.
Or at least take a step back.
Take a step back and take a break.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, Bill, before we get out of here?
Yeah, just I don't know, keep it cool, or you're gonna end up on one of Graz's insane Delphi people streams.
Well, I mean, I'm not out there, so I don't know where. If people are saying I'm something, I know I've already been accused of being, I don't know, on somebody that called into the jail or whatever. It's like, I don't know where you guys are getting this. Prove it.
Yeah, prove it. But that goes for both sides.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you guys. Man, this was a really informational. Julia, I want to thank you again for stepping in front of all this and being willing to answer these questions. We really don't have sources that are close to this and close locally to kind of oblige us with these requests. So we really appreciate it. And most importantly, the subscribers appreciate it. They're showing you a lot of love. And
thank you.
But we are out of time, and please let's stay in contact. Let's do this again. And
will do. Thank you.
Bill?
Yeah, I want to say a big thank you to everybody in the chat. This is one of the best chat rooms on YouTube. So thank you guys.
You guys have a blessed day. I appreciate your time, and don't stop searching.
We won't.
Just keep going. Keep going.
All right, guys.
All
have
right,
a great day.
Care. Thank
Bye.
you. You too.
See you later, Bill.
Bye.